going on, everybody? Dogman Dan here. We are in the crew, and I've got some things to talk about with this. Now, I have not picked up the Wilderun expansion, and I did that because I wanted to see, one, what cars are going to be available and what it is about for people that don't have the expansion. Now, I know they're selling it as the expansion, as the Crew Complete Edition, as the Crew Wild Run Edition, and as the DLC. So there's different prices depending upon how you do it now. So if you buy the Crew Complete Edition, you get everything. I think it's like $50 now. You get all the DLCs or something like that. If you buy the Crew Wild Run, you get the Wild Run expansion, of course, and that's like $39 or something like that. And if you already had the Crew and you had everything else, and let's say you were in the beginning and you spent like $80 or $90 because you bought the season pass and everything else, now you got to still spend $25 to buy the DLC. The DLC does have new cars, it has new event areas, it has a lot of new things going on. Some stuff accessible, of course, during the actual game itself, and others not. Okay, and there's good and there's bad. Okay, check out my Nissan, my Skyline here. Just bought this bad boy. This is the street spec. Put some. Designed it up a little bit here. I went with a metallic blue. Changed at the front end just a little bit, but yeah. Anyway, so we're going to talk about this here in just a second. We're going to go through some of the good stuff and a whole bunch of the not so good stuff. So,
Hey, there's word going around of some new events being held across the U.S.
All right, Zoe.
Using some extreme equipment. If you want in, I suggest you head over to the location on your map and enter the trials.
I got it.
Get over there ASAP.
I got it. Okay, so a couple things that are going on with this. One, a lot of people have talked about shuttering in the game, lower FPS than what they used to have because of the higher graphics now in terms of how the game is. Generally, I'm doing pretty good. I'm getting my 60 frames a second, to be honest. At night, it does tend to lower a bit, which is odd. And when it's raining, it does tend to lower a bit. You can get a little bit of shutter. I don't know if you can see that as I'm moving. Currently at 50 frames a second instead of 60 as I'm moving around here. But for the most part, it's still pretty steady, and the graphics do look that much better. Even without the expansion, in my opinion, they look that much better than they did before. Okay, but there's a few things that are bothering me about this, and, you know, stick around with me. And I'm going to tell you some good stuff, and I'm going to tell you some bad stuff. But right now, I have a very sour taste in my mouth. Okay, so if you compare this to, say, other games that come out and put out expansions, and we'll talk about recent expansions like Guild Wars 2, right? So Guild Wars 2 put out their Heart of Thrones expansion, and they made the base game available as a free-to-play game, which, you know, the crew didn't do that, and that's fine. It doesn't have to be. But what the developers at Ubisoft did was they made the expansion part of this game so integrated that you have to have the expansion to now experience a whole bunch of features that you could have in the base game, that you should have in the base game, that you should still have the option to just buy the base game if you don't want the expansion. But people are now being forced into the expansion. So if I want to continue playing it, and I'm going to show you right here, if I want to continue playing it with a crew, okay, check this out, looking for a crew, which I can no longer do because I do not have the expansion pack. So if I go to click on it, you need to have the Crew Wild Run to access this feature. So in order to play with my friends or find new friends or find a crew of people playing, I now have to buy a $25 expansion just to play the game. No, that's not how it works. Okay? And that right there is the kicker. I will not buy the expansion now because of that. You are forcing me to buy the expansion just to enjoy the game that I once enjoyed. And, you know, I want to get friends and I want to have people play, great, all that good stuff, but nope, not now. In terms of, you know, the new cars and stuff that are out there and all that crap, that's great. There's a whole bunch of new cars out there. We know that. There's all the new missions going on out there. You got everything that's here. Where am I now? I'm a little bit lost. PvP lobbies all over the place. they dropped in all these new rewards, and the new rewards, all these cosmetic things, seem to be taking over getting parts for the game itself. What's over there? Car dealer Los Angeles. I'm trying to let's go into the car dealer Miami, and I'll show you what's going on here. Enter. So I'm a little frustrated because I had gotten things. I bought a couple cars last night. I had access to all the new specs, or at least I could, purchase all the new specs, which are quite expensive, and I'll show you that here as well. Now, as we get into it, lots of new cars. We know that, the different classes, and you get the motorcycles now available and all that good jazz. But the first thing that I saw when I came out to go play the game was I can no longer look for a crew. I can no longer look for a crew in the base game because I don't have the DLC. So they're forcing me into the DLC in order to have the game. So, now, let's come over to the collection, alright? You've got, now at the top of the screen, you've got standard and extreme mode, so you can see the difference. Using standard mode, there's 14 pages here, vehicles that are available. 102 vehicles or something like that. I think I own a good portion, but I don't own them all, but I do own a good portion. If I flip over to Extreme, this is your new classes here, Drift, Monster, Drag. You can see with the vehicles that I own what I could do in terms of what classes are available, what classes are not available, and that's cool. But let's just take, for instance, here you see 400,000 for Drift, 450,000 for Monster, 500,000 for Drag. Comparably, if we come back over here and we're looking at these, let me find it because I haven't purchased all of them in that class yet, so let me just find it. Give me a second here. One more second. We come back over here, you're going to see 9,000, 13,000, 22,000, 31,000. These are what they used to be when the game even started. So now the whole new class is extreme in terms of cost. They've limited your amount of money to 10 million in cash that you can have at any time. So once you've hit the 10 million mark, even if you bought everything else, you can't keep accumulating the money to buy different things, down the road. So that's kind of a thing. But I mean, it's cool that you can see the different categories. You've got a whole bunch of vehicles that are available in terms of these, and mostly Drift, a few Drag, a couple of monster trucks, not as many as you thought there would be. The majority of these are going to be Drift class cars because that's the new big thing for them, is what they're trying to push, okay? So again, it is what it is. But in terms of the game, oh, I didn't want to do that. I'm sorry. I'm a little disappointed in the fact that, let me get back in there, guys. I'm sorry. It's my frustration right now that's getting to me. I had this all planned out, a really nice review and all that stuff, and then I took more time to do it, and I'm thinking, oh, this is great, whatever. But the way they put this into the game now, you have to buy the expansion in order to continue playing the game the way you were playing it pre-expansion. Let me find it in here. Let me see, where are they? And then we got all the new motorcycles, right? Yeah, you're like, oh, cool, motorcycles, let's go get one. Mind you, I don't have the expansion, but you figure it's here, it's in the game, and showing it to me, so I should be able to go buy it. And so we get over to the bike dealer. Let's skip the little introduction. And you have access to all of these things, and they're all different bikes, and they're dirt and performance and circuit and such coming along here. Oh, there's no dirt. Where was the dirt one? I thought there was a dirt one, but as you can see at the bottom of the screen, in order to purchase it, I must buy the Wilderun. Not only do I have to spend $25 to buy it, but I'm still going to have to spend, what does this one cost? $67,000 to buy the motorcycle, and then still do upgrades. $292,000 to buy the Ducati in order to use it. So if I'm buying the Wilderun, you better damn well just give me all the fucking vehicles at this point. But, so the crew, the team, I don't know what you guys did. I don't know what your theory was in saying, okay, we're just going to take the base game, drop it, and make you have the Wilderun. You must buy it. And even when you get to the entrance screen, when you start the game, it tells you must download the update. And the update has got you better graphics and all that crap. And now there's, there's rain and there's weather events, which is cool. Don't get me wrong. The weather events are pretty cool. Playing in the rain and all that stuff. It's pretty cool. And I think that's great. But you've now essentially forced me into buying an expansion that I shouldn't have to. I don't have to when I'm playing Guild Wars. I can completely play the full base game without ever buying the expansion. I don't get the extra features of the expansion, but that is fine. They haven't blocked me from being able to play any other part of that base game. Whoa! Really? Just spawns right on top of me. I love that. That's awesome. So, my review for the Wilderun, don't buy it. As a matter of fact, if you don't have this game, don't even fucking buy the game, because they've just screwed everybody over. And they don't give a shit, obviously. So, that's it. I'll catch you guys in another episode doing something else other than the crew, because it's now being uninstalled permanently.